Hello, wastrels, and all other manner of adventurers. I'm Caedo Genesis, and welcome to the PIPCAST 3000, episode 33. I'm joined by my amazing co-hosts, BADCompanySarge.
Hi.
And Jared of Jaw Red Gaming.
Hello.
And we're talking about Fallout and video game news and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes we have a special guest, but that special guest turned into a co-host, so you don't got to worry about that right now. And I want to let you all know that we're still kind of in the middle of the COVID pandemic. Take care of yourselves. Make sure that you are washing your hands and doing all those things that people continue to remind you to do because it's very important. So we are going to be talking about a lot of just general gaming news type stuff today. There's no kind of major direction for news right now when it comes to gaming, except a lot of things being delayed. We also have an interesting Fallout topic. Since a lot of us are in isolation right now, we're going to be talking about what it would be like to be actually in a vault because we have a bit more kind of, I guess, experience with that now. So anyway, Jared, what's the tip of the day?
Tip of the day, variety is good. Variety is the spice of life. And right now, while we are all stuck at home, the best thing you could try to do is to do something different whenever you can. Just keep it fresh, keep it new, especially now. Like I said, we're all at home and you got to take care of your mental well-being. And a good way to do that is just try something new. Get out. I guess you can't get out and
Don't
try
get out,
something
man.
new.
Stay
Don't get out.
inside and try
Don't
something
get
new.
out. Stay inside. The internet
Remain
is great.
indoors. Remain indoors.
Yes. There's an endless world of possibilities right at the tip of our fingertips. So, yeah.
Good tip.
Yeah.
Good suggestion.
I'm really glad that I came up with that.
It was a really good idea, man. Good idea.
I'll put it in the credits. Like that. Tip of the day contributor, Jared. Plagiarist. So what was the comment of the cast? We talked about game suggestions for Fallout fans last PIPCAST 2 weeks ago. And what was the comment that we grabbed from that?
The comment,
Sarge?
which has absolutely nothing to do with what you just said, is from JJ, who says, "Y'all guys got to get it on Spotify so it's more accessible and easier to listen to."
Ooh.
Wow. Yes.
Good job, Sarge.
Thanks. Caedo, you do like all the work with this, so Spotify.
I want to give you guys a little bit of credit for using your voices for an extended period of time, because I know that's important at this point for creators as well. But this person suggested putting up not just this person, but another comment asked about putting it on Spotify, and I don't know how complicated that is, how much extra work I would have to put in to actually do that and follow through. But I guess I'll consider it. But I'm more interested in waiting until the PIPCAST gets a little bit more attention.
Right.
Because as of right now, I already put a lot of work into it to have only so many people watch it, as opposed to my other projects that get 10 to 100 times the attention. It's more about how much work I give myself, I suppose.
So what Caedo's saying is, as long as every episode gets over 1,000 views, then it will be on Spotify. He guarantees it.
Yeah, let's go with that. If the next five episodes end up breaking 1,000 views, then I'll more strongly consider it. How about that?
Yeah.
I
was actually thinking about this the other day, and I was going to ask you if this went on to any other platforms other than YouTube.
Yeah, something that was easier from the get-go was just uploading the audio to my Patreon, but of course only the patrons can hear that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how accessible that is on the phone anyway, whereas Spotify is like super easy to get to on the phone.
Yeah.
I have zero experience with it. I've used Kite's account a couple of times to listen to some albums that didn't release on time on Amazon. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much all my usage of Spotify. I know people use it a lot for podcasts. Anyway, yes, thinking about it.
Cool.
We had another comment relating to the actual topic I wanted to bring up, but I forgot what it was. Fabio Moriera. Did we say J? Did we say the commenter JJ
Yeah.
on the first one? Okay. Yeah, Fabio Moriera said Rage 2 is pretty kick-ass, and we didn't mention Rage 2 at all.
No, we did
As
not.
a post-apocalyptic game, because it is.
I was going to at one point and then I just forgot.
Yeah,
That's the standard Rage 2 kind of
Yeah.
process.
kind of. A lot of people just kind of forgot about it.
It's not a bad game. And it just exists.
It's like most of the Tomb Raider games
Yeah.
from 2013 on. They just exist. You play them, you digest them, and then
I'm glad they exist. It's good to have lots of games out there, and lots of games which are like, yeah, that's a game.
yep.
Totally.
So Sarge and I have this conversation fairly often when one of those comes up, because I think we both did videos on Rage 2, right?
I think I only ended up doing like one video.
Yeah, I did a bunch.
Yeah.
I did too many.
I never played the Rage 2.
Yeah, because the replayability isn't really there.
If you can pick it up for like $10, totally worth it, because it's got some really like cool combat.
Okay. Keep that in mind.
Nothing else, but it's got some really cool combat.
Yeah.
Well, I remember the first Rage game, when they showcased it, it looked amazing, and then it wasn't a bad game, but again, it was just pretty much how you described the second one. Like, it was okay, but it was just, there it is, and it was nothing as amazing as they said it was going to be.
I do feel that Rage 2 is better than the first one.
Okay.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I mean, at least they're moving in the right direction, I suppose.
Yeah. Because I don't remember when the first Rage came out. It was before the first Borderlands game, right?
Oh, I do not remember.
We need to do some research for a second. Hold on.
Yeah.
Rage came out in 2011. No, so Borderlands came out first. I had played Borderlands first before I had played Rage, and I was like, Borderlands does all of this better.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I also feel like Rage came out at a time when games were being showcased using CG cinematics, but claiming that it was gameplay. And I think that I remember seeing the Rage trailer or whatever, and it claimed it was gameplay, but it was very obviously just a CGI cinematic. And when you actually played the game, it looked nothing like it.
Yeah.
I feel like that happened at that time where that was going on a lot more. So expectations were just way out of proportion, and then you get the game and it's just like, what is this?
Oh, another one that's just a game. that's a game was the Mad Max game by half of the same developers, which was another post-apocalyptic game. Like the car combat and the beating people up combat was a lot of fun, but the rest of it was meh. Yeah.
Well, speaking of games that are just meh, Last of Us 2 has been delayed indefinitely, but it's not like anyone cares. I mean...
What kind of segue? Okay.
Dang, that's the last
time. Was
time.
there anything else?
That's the last time I add to the news. Damn. No.
Sorry, I have to make the comments hate me. It's my one goal in the PIPCAST.
That's Sarge's self-appointed position.
I'm just slowly trying to turn myself into the villain of this piece.
Perfect.
All right.
I like it.
Yeah. No, but personally, the delay doesn't bother me, because I've not even played the first Last of Us. So, yeah. But it is definitely understandable why it's been delayed. But hearing from a fan, how does this make you feel?
Honestly, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, there's been so much time since the first one that the excitement of the second one is kind of faded. So the fact that it's being delayed, especially with things happening in the world the way they are, it's not surprising. But I'm also not like super disappointed. The thing that caught me off guard was the indefinitely, and it made me think that is this game just never going to come out, or is it just until the pandemic has subsided? Just interesting choice of words, I guess, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, it's probably just a case of we don't have a date that it's going to be out.
Right.
Which obviously isn't as bad as never going to happen.
Right.
Like you said, yeah, choice.
When somebody says indefinitely, like it's a concerning word.
Yeah, and it's in all the information too. Like they seems like they've chose that word very carefully because it's in all the news and the press releases and information that you find. It's indefinitely is always the word that they use. I'm just like, okay.
It takes up less space than until further notice.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so.
I guess.
But as a fan, yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. It's just kind of like, it's too bad, but we get it. But it's been so long, it's not really going to affect me.
But, I mean, even if a game was out, like, decades ago, if a follow-up of any sort comes out for it, that is going to get a lot of excitement, providing the game had unrealistic expectations of how good it actually was. Ain't that right, Caedo?
That is right, Sarge. I believe you're talking about something that came out recently that I played super fast. And that's the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I got it 3 days early because I ordered the first class edition, which is the big Cloud on motorcycle statue or figurine. I don't know what you call it. It's not a toy. even though it moves like one, it definitely still feels like
do you make sound effects when you're playing with it?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
It's a motorcycle. Of course you do. But yeah, so the Final Fantasy VII Remake came out. I played through it. I'm still processing a lot of it. A lot of the negative things are sticking out in my mind, even though, like, I played through it and I enjoyed 90% of what I played. So it does take up, like, the Midgar segment, which is the big first chunk of the original game.
Yeah.
But adds way more context to characters, develops more characters, like some of the Avalanche members and stuff like that. You'll even see that in the trailers, actually. Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse. The gameplay is really fun in the battle sequence type stuff. The weapon and materia upgrades are mostly intact, but weapons now have the ability to upgrade themselves, so you can use the same weapon throughout the entire game if you wanted to, but you have your options. And I think they took a page from Final Fantasy IX's book too, where you learn certain abilities from equipment, from your weapons.
Oh, taking advice from the best Final Fantasy.
Yeah, by using them, basically. So I liked that part a lot, and there was one ability I got with the nail bat that I just used almost nonstop after I got it, because it throws you into your other stance as Cloud and hits the enemy really hard, and then switches back when you hit it again. It's really cool. The main thing that I loved, that I made a post about on the subreddit to balance out my upset post, was the bosses. The bosses are mostly faithfully recreated, if not enemies turned into bosses. Enemies from the original game turned into bosses, which is also really cool. Like, they get their own stage, because a lot of them are kind of ridiculous. Anybody who played the original Final Fantasy VII, most of the enemies are really ridiculous in that game. Yes. And I loved what they did with that. Some parts of the game felt like needlessly padded. Extra puzzle segment to get from one place to another when something, like, urgent is happening. They did that multiple times, and I was like, okay, come on, let's go. Let's get to the story part. But then they were like, oh, boss fight. And I was like, yeah, I like this boss fight, but I want to see what happens next. So maybe a little bit of a problem with the pacing. Some of the theme was kind of like not feeling the same as the original game, but my expectations weren't particularly high because I knew that like if Square Enix was going to take liberty with Final Fantasy VII Remake in like adding more context, they would probably add more stuff that didn't need it, which they did. So some of the new characters though too are, speaking of added things that aren't needed, some of the new characters are actually pretty interesting and cool.
Unlike the old characters.
Some of them, yeah. So I look forward to seeing them hopefully return in whatever the follow-up is. If that's game 2 of 3 or game 2 of 2 or whatever.
Game 2 of 20, considering it's just Midgar in the first one.
It's Final Fantasy when Final Fantasy was already that. But yeah, I think that was a fair discussion. I said good and bad. So
yeah,
I'm gonna leave it at that. You want to talk about bad though? Our next news topic involves Google Stadia.
I don't know anything about it, so.
Right, damn, I know next nothing about it, and I was the idiot who put it here.
Come on, Sarge, you can be the bad guy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be the bad guy. Everyone hates Stadia. It's no fun being the bad guy when people agree with you.
You have to act like you love it, like it's the greatest thing. Then.
Oh my god, guys. Amazing offer you do not want to miss out on. Stadia Pro is free for 2 months. That's right, the best service in gaming is free for an entire 2 months. What else needs to be said? I mean, come on.
Wow.
Yeah, so Stadia Pro is garbage.
So I don't even need to buy the console? I don't even need to buy the hookups?
Yeah, but other than that, it's free. After you've bought everything, it is 100% free, Caedo.
Wow.
Let me look at the actual price of the controller and stuff.
Well, you need a controller and like some widget or a fridge that reads your mind, that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Oh, no.
Sold.
It's saying something that the adverts I'm getting on the news article I'm quickly browsing through on Stadia, the adverts are like 10 times more interesting than the article.
You keep getting distracted.
It's a Red Dead 2 ad and a Wastelanders ad on the same page at the same time. It's just like, come on, you're just making.
I've got a Doom Eternal ad, so everything's on fire, which kind of makes sense for Google Stadia.
I want to see what comes up when I do it. Oh, it's just more Stadia stuff.
Oh,
wait, no, Resident Evil. Okay.
Alright, well,
yeah.
Judging by the fact that we're talking about ads rather than Stadia itself, Stadia just isn't particularly good. So it says here, Stadia Pro normally goes for $10 a month and currently provides access to 9 games.
Ooh.
Destiny 2, Grid, Guilt, Metro Exodus, SteamWorld Dig 2, SteamWorld Quest Hand of Gilgamesh, Thumper, the Serious Sam Collection, Spitlings, and Stacks on Stacks on Stacks. Wow. Now, I don't know about you, but I've heard of 4 of those games, 5 of those games. Yeah, none of them are worth... I feel like $10 a month, even for all of those games at once, is a bit much. Especially when you consider you can play Destiny 2 for free. Like,
you're right.
The game's free. I got it for free. I've never spent a penny in Destiny 2, and I've probably paid like 100 odd hours. It's just, yeah. But if you want to stream your games on an internet connection that definitely isn't being throttled by the fact that everyone is at home and using the internet at the same time, then go for Stadia Pro for free for 2 months and fail to play any games.
You get the hardware.
Yeah.
Which you can't go get.
No.
Yeah. You're gonna be waiting a while probably for the actual controller and stuff too. Which I honestly, I think this is for people that already bought it. I feel like, because I don't know what shipping times will be for if you're actually ordering one or trying to get one.
Yeah.
At this point,
I feel like Stadia is just going to die, and
Yeah.
they're not going to be able to salvage it. It seems like a very small attempt at, like, hey, free stuff. But everyone's doing free stuff right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one that jumps into my head which I can't say, but there's a whole bunch of places giving away, like, services, subscriptions, movies, games, stuff for free. And 2 months of Stadia Pro, sure, it's fine, but it's not, like, something so amazing that
You
you're
don't
gonna
own the
go,
games.
wow, I need
Yeah.
this.
For one.
Like, I was actually going to say that I think the Xbox Games Pass currently has it right now. I'm not sure how long this offer goes on for. I feel like it might be ending soon, hence I didn't put it in the news. But they're currently doing like a buy 3 months, get 3 months free kind of thing. And that's a service which actually gets you a ridiculous number of games for like Xbox and PC if you go for the joint one. And it's like, that's a million times better as like a game service than Stadia is.
Yeah, by far.
Oh yeah.
By far. And you can use it on the hardware you already have too. You don't have to buy a new thing. Most people have a computer.
Yep. See,
And a lot of people have an Xbox. So
Stadia would be great if you didn't have to buy extra stuff for it, because then they'd be able to tap into the market of all these people who don't have any video game stuff, who are suddenly at home with nothing to do. But because you have to get the controller and whatnot, you're still having to buy things. You're just not having like the console box or a decent graphics card. It's
yeah. Why didn't they make it a service just for like streaming to phones?
I don't know.
Yeah. Or
Did it just not reach far enough? Maybe I don't know, honestly.
I think it would be
Feels like they
cool
just
if they
missed.
just you could turn your phone into the controller.
Yeah, something like
You
that
know,
would
like that.
work incredibly. But no.
And I'm not even into the whole idea of mobile gaming because I like playing on a
Oh no.
screen that I can see things on. But still,
No, but the phone as a controller idea is a great idea. Because
Yeah.
that way you can still have like a big screen on like a TV or whatever, which everyone's going to have some sort of a screen.
oh yeah,
And everyone besides me has a smartphone, which you could just have a digital layout of like a controller on there, which would be nice and easy to do. But nope. They have to have their own controller, which makes it too close to a console for non-console people and non-gamer people to really get into. It's
It feels like people who don't game made this. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Problem
Yeah,
is, they didn't
it does.
even make it for themselves as such. They made it for gamers, which doesn't work because we've got the stuff already.
We've already got the stuff that we like playing things on.
Yeah.
We don't want to have to buy an extra thing. I already bought an extra thing, like a couple extra things actually, recently. Didn't want to, but I did.
Oh.
Not just for gaming, but I bought a new capture card. I'm waiting for that. It's going to be a long while. But yeah. And the the first class edition thing. But I already had the console to play it on.
Because of course you already have the console, because you play video games.
Yeah.
Stupid
It cost me
Google.
about as much as the console too. I paid a lot for that motorcycle. The package was 13 pounds. Like it's heavy. It's a big.
Oh, pounds is in weight.
Uh,
Over in the UK, I was like, £13 cost you as much as a console. That's great, mate.
Oh yeah. Okay, well, you know that Stadia was kind of a fever dream when you saw the ads and stuff like that. You don't have to look far to find the Stadia ads. They'll probably find you at some point until it kind of is deceased. But anyway, another fever dream that Obsidian has been working on has been grounded. That's the name of it. It's named Grounded. And what do you guys know about it?
I've watched the trailer. I've made a lot of assumptions. I'm not sure how much information they've actually given, though. Because from the looks of it, it is a survival game where you're very small and are in like a standard back garden. Yeah, our upcoming survival adventure game on July 28th. Go big or never go home. And yeah, Obsidian are The top comment as well is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, which is basically what this is. It's just the survival game version of this. And I like my survival games. Don't care about this one, but I like the genre.
Which survival game, minus 76, because that's, softcore survival.
I mean, I like Ark and Conan and stuff like that. Subnautica was pretty cool, although I didn't play it myself. But there's plenty of good survival games out there that have already come out. And you mentioned 76. I remember people saying, 76 is a bit late for a survival game. And now Obsidian, the people who everyone loves, because they made one game they played, which they assume is their entire library.
We can both be the bad guy for this.
Yes. Now they're making a survival game, 2 years after people were complaining that Bethesda was doing it too late.
I will mention that that this is a much smaller team in Obsidian that's making this game. It's like 14 or so people working on this game. Because Obsidian has other major things that they're putting together.
New Vegas 2.
RPG.
Totally New Vegas 2, everyone.
Which is the main thing that makes me mad at fans. Because I want multiple things out of Grounded, if I can share those. I want it to either do well and draw attention away from the Outer Worlds and New Vegas, and the Outer Worlds being New Vegas in space. Because that, I don't like them being put in a box. Yeah. Or I would like it to not do well, and people take Obsidian a little further down their ladder of this developer is perfect.
Well, here's the thing that's actually going to happen. It's going to come out. It's probably not going to do great, but I doubt it'll be a complete flop. And people will ignore that Obsidian made it and just focus on those other two games. Because Obsidian has made so many games that nobody talks about.
That are actually not great.
Yeah, well, they've made, a big variety of games. From, some amazing games to some which just kind of meh. And then, plenty in between which are decent and passable and fine games. And I feel like Grounded will be a decent, passable and fine game that, give it 10 years, no one will care about.
Yeah.
I can actually put a pin on this too, because one of my games that I was playing the last couple weeks was another Obsidian game that people don't really talk about. Mm-hmm. And playing it, I found out kind of why.
What game was it?
I'll share in the what are we playing section.
Wait, what does it say on here? Was that made by Obsidian? It couldn't be. No. Skyrim?
Final Fantasy VII?
Yes. Wonder what else it could be. Okay.
But yeah. Yeah. The Borderlands 3 thing that you showed me. We need to do a segue to that.
No, that was perfect, Caedo. Perfect segue. Excited squealing on the next topic. So, everyone, Borderlands 3 has a science arcade machine up on Sanctuary 3 now. And it's very weird. Because there's a little trailer that I saw for it, and yeah, playing it has benefits to the world of science. Like the actual real world. Like actual real world stuff. It bugs me, because they give you, some information, and it reminded me of, high school, when you're in a class, and they tell you stuff, and you realise that they're lying to you to give you a simple explanation for what's going on. And this is what it feels like all over again. And it bugs me when that happens, because they're like, oh yeah, this data will help combat various diseases by learning about the human gut for different strands of things that the computer analyzes, but the certain mistakes of playing this game will help isolate those mistakes and make everything run better. And then it's just like, wait. Explain it so it actually makes sense, please.
Playing the game helps machine learning.
But here's the problem. How
that's what they said anyway.
Yeah, how does it actually work? Because I've been playing this. Have either of you two played the little arcade machine? Yeah.
No.
Nope.
Okay, I've been playing it, and you earn rewards for, like, each segment you go through, and there's high scores and stuff. It tells you to do as good as you can. It says, hey, if you skip over it because it's hard, that helps us too, or whatever. But I've worked out the quickest way to do it to get the in-game benefits is you basically just spam to move all of the little things up. I don't even know how to describe the game. Like, you're making columns with appropriate symbols by pushing up the rows or other way around. Not sure, with rows and columns. You do that, you try and hit the high score or whatever, you get coins, excellent. But
So it's like Dr. Mario.
kind of, yeah. It's close enough to that. Problem is, though, that to get a passable rate, you don't need to do that great. And to get, like, the ultra high score, you actually need to be quite good at it, which I'm going to brag a bit now. I'm very good at it, it turns out. I was like, I beat every single high score for, like, the first 50 I did, before realising, wait, if I just do this really fast, I can get, like, a passable score, and then just go ahead to the next one. And now it takes me, like, less than 10 seconds per puzzle. And it's just like, cool, I can just spam through this, and it goes fine. But the problem here now I have is with the real-world science applications, because when I was acing it and getting every high score, I was like, okay, so am I doing the perfect optimal solution which will help the computers know exactly what they need to do? And then when I'm only just barely passing it because I just want the in-game rewards, am I then screwing over the computers a bit because I'm not actually showing them the best way, which I could do, which I'm good enough to get to, but I'm just like, no, I don't want to do this because I'm bored of it now. Now I'm giving the computers actual flaws and not showing them the ultimate way, and it's bugging me so much! I need more information, Borderlands. Tell me how many people I've killed by speedrunning. I need to know.
Maybe it's based off of the highest scores. Like there's a threshold. Even though like you're still getting rewards, you're not meeting that threshold.
That'd be a nice way, I guess. But then, God, there's way too much that has been put in my hands, because like I say, I aced so many of them, and I got to puzzles where they didn't have high scores yet, because they were like new puzzles which people hadn't done. And it's just like, no, I shouldn't be the person doing this. They need someone better. Oh, it gives me too much panic. I don't like my video game actions having real-world ramifications.
Fair enough.
Well, there was also a video game that real-world actions, improved it quite a bit after it launched. Go with I was really hoping you were going to say something else about Borderlands 3 to kind of make it all better. I feel like I just put us into a pit of despair, and now you've just gone, cool, okay.
Let's stay in this pit.
We already know that Borderlands 3 is a great game on its own.
Yeah.
I don't know how much we need to...
It's just a game mode. This is actual, like, health sciencey stuff. God. Why did they make something important inside of a video game? Why? It's such a good idea, but I hate it.
Maybe Gearbox made some extra money off of it by implementing it into their game.
Maybe.
Allowing them to continue the free updates, so... Maybe that's how it played out.
I don't know.
Glass half full, Sarge.
Still doesn't help me, but let's go with it. I became a YouTuber, not a scientist. I wanted my brain to rot. Why can't you accept that video games?
And he's not a science YouTuber either.
Yeah. No. Oh, I had a great No, bad Sarge.
Speaking of science and science fiction, No Man's Sky just came out with an update recently. I don't know if you guys are fans of No Man's Sky at all.
I call it other things besides No Man's Sky.
Okay.
I haven't played it, but it seems alright, and I've spoken to a couple of friends who have played it and really enjoyed it.
I would fall into the category of someone who enjoys it now. And this new update which adds mechs, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I haven't played it myself yet. But mechs are typically slow.
Despite being awesome.
Despite being awesome, I love mech,
Yeah.
and I love Mech Warrior is one of my favorite game franchises ever.
It gives me those vibes. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, But like, as cool as it is, I think after using it for a period of time, I would get tired of it because No Man's Sky is very resource grinding, and you just want to get from point to point to point to get the resources that you need a tremendous amount of resources in order to do the things that you want to do. You don't want to necessarily take your time getting there all the time. So I feel like the coolness of a mech would wear off pretty quick. But again, I don't know. I haven't played it.
Yeah. I'm seeing a little bit of extra mobility stuff, so there might be
some more options.
Some more options, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's cool that they are continuing to update the game, considering what No Man's Sky was when it first came out compared to what it is now. It is a completely different game, for the better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's more in line to kind of the expectations that they set before the game released. I think where it is now is closer to those expectations than where it was when it actually did release, which was disappointing is putting it lightly. So I don't know. I haven't tried it, but I would definitely give it a try at some point, just to see what it's like.
Mechs are pretty cool.
I like mechs, man.
My problem with anything involving mechs these days is ever since MechWarrior 4 Black Knight, nothing has ever recaptured that same experience for me, and it never will, and I'm sad about it.
I think I would agree with you, actually.
I even played the new MechWarrior. I played MechWarrior 5 that came out, and I was like, it's not as good.
Yeah.
Like, MechWarrior 4 perfected mech gameplay, a mech game, and then there was Black Knight, which was like the add-on big bonus game that went with it. Those two were like perfect.
Yeah.
And like the only other mech title thing which I really did enjoy is like the Titanfall 1 and Titanfall 2, because they did mechs in a very different way. And I think between like Titanfall 2 and MechWarrior 4, you've got the two ways to do mechs, and I'm not sure if there'll be any games which ever improve on either of them on either side of things.
Yeah. Titanfall 2 is still one that I need to play.
Oh god, it's so freaking good, man. I mean, if you play multiplayer, I will reinstall it just to jump in with you. But even
I probably wouldn't.
But it's so good. We could get Tony as well. Force Tony back into Titanfall 2.
I don't play many competitive multiplayer games.
It's not competitive. It's super casual. You just need to slide hop over everyone. What's so difficult about that?
Learning it?
Nah, it's fine. Just binge watch Tony Mo for several years. That's all it takes.
Just learn by osmosis.
Yeah.
Stick my head to the screen and just try to absorb it.
Legitimately, I think that's the reason why I like bunny hop and do all that stuff in Borderlands. Because I did just watch so much Titanfall content where everyone's slide hopping around the map.
That's funny. It might be easier for me because I played Warframe, so I have the motion down for that, or the traversal down for that. So I don't. That might be fairly easy. Yeah. Anyway, there's more delays. I don't.
Woo.
Yeah.
Wait, no. Sad. Terrible.
More delays on games and stuff.
Yeah.
The Greymoor expansion for Elder Scrolls Online has been delayed. Not indefinitely. They're not using the indefinite word.
Oh no, it's a pretty short delay. It's till the expansion will still hit the public test server on April 20th, and will roll out about a week after it's confirmed May 18th. So it'll be about like May 25th. Yeah, that's adding 7 for actual release. It's a very small delay. It's not that big a deal, but it is worth noting. But if you're an Elder Scrolls Online player who is looking forward to going back into Skyrim, you might have to wait an entire extra week.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's nice because I'm sure we've all seen plenty of people online who've talked about game delays. But I've seen a lot of it in my comment section as well, because I think we'll be talking about in a few news topics' time got delayed, I saw like 99% of people being like, "Oh, a week delay, that's nothing. That's more than acceptable. 100% fine with it." And then you see the 1% of people who absolutely go mental over it, and they cannot stand it. And
it annoys me too.
Yeah, one of them I called out, because one of them was like, "Oh man, this game's just being delayed to make us pay more money and so we don't have to make content," and it was just some garbage like that. And then I pointed out to them that they were in the middle of a pandemic. I went back to check on the comment later and they deleted it. I legitimately think the person had forgot the entire world situation.
Yeah.
God.
I am on board with you on that, Sarge. It drives me nuts seeing people like become more I don't have the word this time either.
Impatient?
It's along the same lines. Entitled.
Oh,
Entitled.
yeah.
It didn't take me 10 minutes.
I was gonna say immersive.
Oh, immersive. Yeah.
Immersion?
Goddamn immersive players.
No, it's the people that are so incredibly entitled, even during this time where delays are going to happen, where they're just like, just release it early. These developers did. Like, no, man, it's not all logistically the same.
Yeah. Well, everyone
also,
knows that games are completed like a year beforehand, and then it's just testing afterwards.
Yeah.
Ugh.
You gotta remember that there's people that work on these things, people
Yeah.
that are at the same risk that we are.
Yeah.
So, in fact, more so because they were in, enclosed offices and stuff like that. And sometimes, if they're working remote or working from home, like, they can't get all of the stuff done that they plan to. So, just like, it's important. The game Grounded is a good, like, name for things that we need to do is stay grounded.
Yeah.
Like, remember that things are happening in the real world and not affecting us all the same way.
Yeah, considering close to any launch of anything video game related tends to be like super crunch time as well.
Mm-hmm.
It just compounds on the issue because people are already like often working like 12-hour days to get the content out on time without any external factors influencing them, and now they've got this huge one that's popped up. And some people still expect games to be coming out on time or early, because of course that would happen.
Yeah, and imagine some of the developers are so old school that they still rely on email to keep in contact with each other than something like Discord, where that would extend the time immensely with getting things like information from person to person too.
Even just having to send things over takes time. Because it's not like you can just be like, "Oh, I'm on Discord, here's everything I'm working on, how does it look?" And they're like, "No, I can't see everything, you'll just need to send it over to me." "Oh, well, it's 20 gigabytes, gonna take me a minute." "Oh, this
Like
next
instead of
file's
sending
100 gigabytes, oh dear."
a full res mesh or something like that.
Yeah.
You can't. Nitro probably won't help with that either.
Oh, no.
But yeah, there's a lot more to it. I'm not a authority on the topic, but I am certain that there's more to it. That people who are so demanding that things come out when they say so is important. That was a bit of a tangent, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a rant.
Greymore is delayed. Deal with it. Is that
Exactly.
topic.
Well said.
So there's other things that have been just outright canceled.
Yep.
On
No
Bethesda's-
delays. Hey,
and
good news. No delay, guys.
no more delays, just canceling stuff.
Yeah, we just get rid of it entirely.
So this is the online showcase that Bethesda was supposed to do for E3. Is that what it is?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
Pre-E3.
Yeah, Bethesda always has like, "Oh, here's the stuff from Bethesda E3," but the Bethesda stuff always happens just before E3. It just kind of gets linked in because E3 is only like 2 or 3 days, but it's basically a week because there's so many other companies who do stuff like just before or just after.
Yeah.
Bethesda's typically is right before E3 as well, which makes it feel even more like E3, but it's just their actual showcase. And obviously, because E3's not happening, the standard thing isn't happening, and apparently they're not doing like an online showcase to show off new stuff. So, no news here is the news.
Yeah. Yep, no news.
Yep.
But you know what does have news? In fact, so much news that somebody's worried about spoilers.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sarge.
So, Fallout 76, the game everyone knows and loves, has an update coming out on Tuesday, which is Wastelanders, which is adding so much stuff. The big one everyone's getting excited about, though, is human NPCs are coming back to West Virginia. They'll all be in there. There's going to be a new main story. There's going to be new enemies. There's going to be higher caps. There's going to be new equipment. There's going to be new currency. There's new locations. There's so much stuff happening because we just got 2 giant info dumps, basically. There was a trailer which came out earlier in the week, which I actually did like a full frame-by-frame breakdown, which I just want to big up myself a bit. I don't know what the non-English slang version would be. But yeah, big up Sarge, because I did a really nice edit for the trailer analysis. And I'm very proud of myself for that. It is beautiful. If you haven't watched it, Caedo, watch it. Appreciate how slick the editing is.
I'm gonna watch it.
Just mute it. You don't want to hear my voice. You just want to listen. I basically just did tons of freeze frames and zooms into what I was saying, but everything flows nicely. I was so happy.
Why don't we link that too alongside it then?
Link it. If you want to know like all of the stuff that happened in the trailer, then go for it. The trailer actually gave away a decent bit of information. And then on Friday, so just 2 days ago? 2 days ago? Yeah, 2 days ago, they had an Inside the Vault come out. And I've also covered that, because of course I did. But in the Inside the Vault, they just gave so much information. Because as well as like just standard text information, they showed off 3 unlisted videos that are on Bethesda's YouTube page. And I'm trying to work out what I can say without actually spoiling stuff. What they showed off in one of them were new daily quests for one of the factions, the Raiders. They showed off 2 of new daily quests and showed a little bit of gameplay of one of the dailies. And Caedo will be unhappy to hear that it sounds like one of them is basically just a fetch quest. The other looks like it's an assassination mission, which is much more interesting. But they didn't show off that one, because of course not. But
yeah, of course not.
Yeah, it was also was it lead designer and lead artist who showed up? Hold up. No. Caedo's adding things to the PIPCAST, which is making me unable to click on links right now. One sec. It was Ferret Bordwan, lead designer. I cannot pronounce their last names, and Nathan Perkypile, the lead artist. They basically teamed up together and did stuff. We got to see Raider dailies. We got to see a new currency coming to the game, gold bullion, and one of their NPC vendors. Wow, that go ahead, Caedo. That was a big sigh.
Yeah, it was. Dang.
I don't like additional currencies every time there's an update.
I mean, this one makes sense for story reasons, which I'm not going to get into because they're major spoilers, basically, but it's so obvious from what everything's been said and from all the people who have broken the NDA. But I will say at least this one does make sense.
Yeah. Well,
it's not just...
Since we have reputations, those are technically a currency, too.
No, but that's like saying, oh, ammo's a currency as well, because we need that to
Sorry,
survive.
A prerequisite to be able to get things.
Yeah, but... likewise, you could say that about so much stuff, because when you start bending that definition, it could just...
After playing Warframe for so long, I got really tired of the amount of currencies in that game, and I'm worried that 76 is going to do it too.
The 76 will have 3 currencies at this point. Because, there's caps, gold bullion, and atoms.
And Halloween candy.
See,
and Mr. Fuzzy tickets.
A claim token. Sure, you can count a bunch of stuff if you want to be, like, ultra-specific for it, but as for actual useful currencies, there's 3.
Yeah.
Everything else is trash.
Useful.
Yeah. Mr. Fuzzy tokens are garbage. So are claim tokens. All of that stuff is. But yeah. There's new vendors coming out, and you trade them, and this is how you get, like...
Script.
Oh yeah, script as well, actually. I did forget about that one. I'll give you script for a currency as well. But yeah, from this vendor and from other vendors who use this new currency on, you can buy like a lot of plans, including plans for like the Vault Power Armor, which was previously just from the Vault Raids. So that's how you're going to get that after Wastelanders. And we don't know exactly how much gold bullion you'll be earning, though, so I've got no idea how reasonably priced things are, which is, like, the one thing I have any concerns about, I suppose. But something I have no concerns about, because it looks badass, is we got to see a fight with the Wendigo Colossus. And it's level 110 Legendary Wendigo Colossus in a nuke zone. Level 110 is the highest level any enemy has been seen in 76. That is, like,
Because it capped at like 96 or something, right?
It's capped at 100. Project Paradise, the alphas that show up in that are level 100. It's as high as it gets. Like, the Scorchbeast Queen, the boss of the game, is relatively low level compared to, like, all the new stuff that's been added.
That's what I was thinking of, I think.
Probably, yeah. But, yeah, we get to see a fight with it. They're doing, like, basically no damage to it. Problem is, with these clips, it's so difficult to tell whenever people from the dev team or the community managers and stuff play. So difficult to tell if their loadout is any good whatsoever. Because 9 times out of 10, it's not particularly good. And they're just showing off some new weapon or something, and they're not built to use it properly.
Yeah.
So, we don't know how tough the Wendigo Colossus actually is, but it summons multiple level 75 Wendigo spawns, which, yeah, on their own are reasonably tough Wendigos. And it does a shrieking attack, which causes the player to run away.
Automatically?
Yeah, you do like a ah and your arms flailing emote, and you run away. And I kind of love that.
I do too. I'm just worried that it might get you stuck in things.
That is a bit of a concern. Like, I can see it going wrong, but as a mechanic, it's really cool. It's way better than, oh yeah, this enemy can stagger lock you, or oh, we just up the damage percentage or whatever. No, that's like a really cool mechanic where this is such a terrifying and horrific monster that when it does a scream which has like skulls come from the ground, smoke skull kind of things, it makes you flee because it's the most horrific and terrifying thing you've ever seen. I love it.
That's pretty cool.
It's very cool. But yeah,
I had a flash of getting stagger locked by the Mark 7 turrets or something like that.
There's a few enemies which can stagger lock you. Explosive turrets and Yao Guai are the big
I
two
hate
in
explosive
76.
turrets so much.
They can be a real pain. You get caught with the Yao Guai, it's in like an enclosed small space. You get caught with it, you're pretty much dead. The turrets, it's just clear line of sight with no cover and you're dead.
Yeah. We
We
talked about this a while ago too, and I don't think they ever fixed the blocking mechanic with the Yao Guai either.
Blocking in 76 just isn't very reliable.
It doesn't do squat.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't cause the enemy to actually stagger, so you can actually get out of the way.
You can
and the Yao Guai is the
stagger
worst
some
because...
enemies,
Oh, okay.
but
Yeah.
doing so is really tricky. Like, the only ones I can reliably block are super mutants using boards, because they do a very slow, clearly directed overhead attack, where there's a lot of forgiveness on when the block timer is. Stuff like Yao Guai just do a quick swing at you, which staggers you. And because it's an online game as well, the time you click block isn't necessarily the time you would based on the animation. You'd have to be like a bit beforehand to do with...
Yeah, you have to guess like a second or two ahead.
Yeah, and because it's such a small animation, you basically have to click it probably at the same time the animation starts, would be my guess, which is almost impossible, I'd imagine. So yeah.
Yep.
That's beside the point.
Yeah. Yao Guais are not my favorite thing to melee fight early on. Now that I can pretty much one-shot them, they're not too much of a concern, but if there comes a point, like, I think Project Paradise has, like, Alpha Yao Guai or whatever, I think that's probably a huge pain, too.
Yeah, well, it can be annoying. But yeah. Something that's not a huge pain is free stuff.
Yeah, free stuff.
Half a segue, yeah, because if you have played Fallout 76 since launch and before the Wastelanders release on Tuesday, so any time within those two like things, which is like 18 months or whatever, if you've played 76 in that time, you will get the Veterans outfit, which is just a free outfit you'll be able to craft by the end of April. Might take a while to have it roll out to everyone, but yeah, you'll get a free outfit, which is just kind of nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, I like it. It's pretty cool.
Is that on the same page?
Oh yeah, this is part of the whole news article thing. There's a lot of it. There is so much news. This is me avoiding spoilers as well, and still giving the news. Imagine what this is like with spoilers.
Right.
Yeah, we have too much information as far as I'm concerned. I could have done without the last trailer, and without the last Inside the Vault. And I'm saying this as someone who makes money by covering this stuff. It's like, I would have happily made like $20 less and just find out this stuff on my own, just for the enjoyment. I think they've given away too much in the final week. Mind you, if Wastelanders hadn't been delayed, I do wonder if any of this information would have been given out. Because I almost feel like this stuff might just be them going, oh, we need to let people know that Wastelanders is coming out a week later than what we said, let's just have some big news things to cover it all. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. It bugs me a bit.
Yeah.
Something which might bug you is, Caedo's on the point here, we have a map with tons of locations where if your camp is placed, your little own settlement in 76, you will need to move it or else it will be packed up, because this giant map, which none of you can see, which is perfect for an audio podcast, has like a whole bunch of crossed out camp symbols, like absolutely tons of them on the map. And those are where new locations and stuff are going. And yeah, it means if you've got a camp there, you need to move it. Because, nuh-uh, you can't have it there.
I think some of these are already, like, over the top of actual locations, though?
Yes, a few of them
Some
are.
of them.
Yeah, well, it's stuff like, at the very top of the map is Crater, which is the Crash Specialite Station? Man, I can't say it. Can someone else please say it?
The Crash Space thingy!
Thank you. I can't even get on that thing. But yeah, the Raider headquarters is obviously shown, which is somewhere you could build, to be fair, I think, but nobody really did, because it was just somewhere visually cool, which one of the people, Ferret or Nate, I can't remember which one, said they'd been wanting to get into Fallout since Fallout 3, which was a cool little insight.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
So we've got that place you can't build in, and obviously Spruce Knob, which you can't build in. And that was a workshop before, but that's going to be Foundation, the settlers' place. And there's tons of other places. I'm just glad to see, but it doesn't appear to be affecting any of my locations, so I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if it affects mine at all, because it's the Overseer's camp. It's like really close to where the Overseer's camp was.
That's the Waywood, which is a bar which is coming, which is opposite the Overseer's camp. I think Caedo will be fine with his camp placement. Caedo's either going to have a camp right next to the first main story place in Wastelanders, which will just be tons of foot traffic, or his camp's going to be packed up because it was like a foot too close.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be a little sad, but I'm also gonna be happy that I don't have to look at that that light that I placed too close to the concrete node that I can't remove.
Oh yeah.
So
that'll be nice to get rid of.
That's my optimist.
Well, I know for a fact that none of my camps are going to be anywhere because I don't have any camps. Because I only just started playing, so
yeah.
I'm actually really excited about this, to be perfectly honest. Like, I have purposefully not looked at anything about it, so I'm in an, I guess, advantageous position to not be overexposed to everything. So I'm really excited because I've wanted to play it for a long time, and hearing about this, it just sounds like it's going to be setting it up for someone who doesn't know anything about it to enjoy it, at least.
Yeah.
So, is the DLC itself like a free DLC, or is it something we have to pay for?
It's free. Yep.
Oh,
as long as you own 76.
Yep.
All of the content updates are free.
That's crazy.
It's been pretty cool. Yeah.
That is really cool. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, it's literally Atom Shop stuff and Fallout First are the two things which are paid for.
Right.
So far.
Yeah. Like, I have a feeling that if Wastelanders does really badly and there's still negative stuff, then future content, like updates, might become just paid DLC. But if this does well enough to get a lot of people in, and people who might like spend a few bucks here and there, then I feel like content will remain free. So, for like about a year or so now, people have been saying, oh, Wastelanders is either going to break or save 76. And I don't entirely agree with that sentiment, but I do think it is going to be a big turning point for the game in general.
Yeah.
Sounds
If it
like
does well.
Well, either way. Because if it
Yeah.
does poorly, it'll be like, oh, 76 can't be saved, there'll be tons more negative stuff about it, and then it'll just go to, like, a very core audience and be focused purely on them. And I have a feeling that could change things for the worse. Not 100% sure on that. It could end up good, but I feel like it would be a bad thing.
So
It really feels like the entire game is being changed with this. Like the amount of stuff that's being added and all the different different map locations having new locations. It just seems like it's almost a brand new game. Am I wrong?
I mean, there's still going to be a lot of the stuff the same. Like, you'll still be able to do the main story, but now the main story will have different voice lines and, like, text dialogue and stuff. All the new locations, obviously. Like, the old game will be there, but think of it like changing your room. If you moved every single bit of furniture out around your room, repainted the walls, got some new decorations and all of that kind of stuff, it'd still be the same room, but it would be so much different from how you remember it.
that's a pretty good
Because-
metaphor.
Yeah.
It is changing so much stuff. And I'm pretty sure they haven't told us everything. Because I've seen,
Yeah.
like, just a few things where I'm like, that looks like they changed something which they haven't mentioned. I wonder what's going on there. It's very cool.
I think I was watching someone where they mentioned that the main story quest with the Overseer and the Wastelanders quests are still kind of separate in their own way.
It sounds like they're going to be that way. Like, you will be able to do both quest lines parallel, is the phrasing that's been given.
Yeah. But they are still, like, they're separate storylines, kind of.
Yeah.
Thing. Which might be interesting for those just jumping in, because, like, I'm sure they did some like repairs and changes on the original storyline to kind of follow suit with the fact that there are people there now, because at the start it was everybody turned into Scorched.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was
Like,
follow the
you're
trail
one
of
of-
holotapes.
You're one
Work
of
out if
very
anyone's
few
alive. No one is.
surviving. Yeah. But I'm kind of excited for it too, and I just don't know if I'll have time to fully enjoy it, or if I should wait. Because right now I'm in the middle of the Final Fantasy VII Remake stuff. Like, I beat the game, but I gotta make at least one video on it.
Yeah. Personally, I'd say don't worry about rushing to it or rushing through it. Taking your time with it will almost certainly be the best way to go about it. And that sucks, because I'm gonna have to rush to it and rush through it.
The problem of being a creator.
Yeah. It's like, sure, I could take my time and have a leisurely stroll and watch my sub count go up like 10 a day and gain like 5 extra bucks on release, or I could work really hard and actually have real significant growth. It's like, I know the one I'm gonna have to go for.
Yep. Yep. So, are we ready to move on to our topic?
I think it's time to go over the Fallout topic. I came up with like a great starting thing and now I've forgotten what it was.
Oh, you want a minute to...
My memory doesn't work, I won't know what it is. Just know that I had something really good and we're not going to be able to use it.
Well, if you think of it, just like say, hey, I thought of it, and then he can just edit it into the beginning.
Oh yeah, Caedo, just fix it in post. Easy.
I can fix it in post. It's fine. It's totally fine. It doesn't take me way too much extra time to fix things
No.
that didn't need to be there in the first place.
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
Or that
sure, I
should have
didn't
been-
actually say it. I only thought it, but you can totally just add it in.
Yeah.
Just put your thoughts in the edit
Yeah.
Yeah.
with your voice.
Oh, of course. I mean, who else's voice would you use? Come on now, Caedo.
I'll just get all the
Think it through
snippets from
properly.
like your videos and stuff like that, like single words where the tone is completely off. That'd be fun.
Oh,
Make Sarge say things out of context where it's clearly just edited in. Okay, so on to our Fallout topic. What's a Fallout topic, Sarge? Yeah, this was your suggestion, right?
what life inside the vaults is like? Question mark.
Yeah. Do you have a jumping off point where we can?
Ooh.
Is
Not
that
one
what
I
it is?
can eloquently put together. You know how you always wanted to know what it was like to live buried underground, away from society, kind of just within your own closed community with limited supplies, nothing really new happening, nothing ever really going on in the world because every day seems like it's exactly the same, and you're trapped and you can't get out because it's a death and disease outside, and it's too dangerous to go out. Well, video games also have something similar. So in the Fallout franchise, we have the vaults.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty good.
And the vaults are exactly like real life, including the experiments I'm doing on all of you.
Uh-huh.
So...
and you're
Ah.
Okay, so what life inside of... We get a glimpse at vault life from multiple different kind of timelines and time moments in the Fallout franchise. In Fallout 1, I guess I can start with the origins type thing. In Fallout 1, you are the quote-unquote vault dweller that needs to leave the vault to save the vault. And you're going up against an entirely, harsh wasteland. You have no experience dealing with wasters at all. And the communities that have been that have basically come up from the rubble, as well as different threats and stuff like that. And it gives a context, or not a context, a perspective on how safe you actually were in the vault, as opposed to what threats you have to deal with. But then you find out that the Super Mutant Army is looking for pure strain humans, which vaults contain. So there actually ends up being a threat no matter what. Kind of cool and interesting. Like it makes you kind of understand that nowhere is 100% safe. Maybe that's what they were trying to drive as a theme kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is like nowhere is necessarily safe.
I'm trying to remember what the exact analogy is, but it's like lambs being led to the slaughter probably feel 100% fine, got no concerns. Everything's okay, they're safe, they've been fine. They've always been fine on this farm, everything's gone nicely for them. Up until the point it doesn't and they get killed.
Yep.
And that's kind of what the vaults... Quite, or that... What was it Vault 101? No, that's Fallout 3. God, I can't remember the numbers. There's too many vaults now.
13.
13, there we go. God. I had like 20 different vault numbers in my brain.
Well, Fallout 3 does recreate a lot of it, so...
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those vaults where it's like, yeah, everything is perfectly fine. It seems like a lovely situation until it's not, and then you realise everything's going to go horribly wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But Vault 13 was probably one of the nicest vaults to be living in, I feel. Because it was pretty much just... I feel like you almost need to have more context clues about it. You might know more context clues.
It actually wasn't as great.
Okay. From a casual perspective of me, who played Fallout 1 like a few times, it seemed like quite a nice, reasonable society. Like, not amazing, but yeah, everyone lived. You got on alright.
Yeah.
Things mostly worked for the most part. You lived a comfortable enough life inside there.
What
actually
inside
happened,
the
Caedo?
vault? Inside the vault, like as you were getting asked to leave, there were dissenters in the vault during that time. They were just like, we should go outside. And you can either talk them down, gain experience, or encourage them and also gain experience.
Hey!
Which is cool. But it doesn't like lead to much at all.
No.
But the gimmick with Vault 13 was, they all have an experiment, was that things broke down often, extremely often, which made maintenance extremely important. And the water chip was essentially, what kept the vault alive. So that broke, and the funny part was that all the spare water chips that Vault 13 supposedly was going to have all ended up in Vault 8, where Vault City is.
Oh no, how did that happen?
Yeah, so in the second game, you go to Vault City, you're like, oh my god, there's so many water chips here. Like, this is a full slap in the face for those who played the first game. Because you only have, like, 2 that you can... Yeah. I think 2 that you have the ability to get in the first game. But this was the Fallout game that had the urgency timer as well, that definitely gave you a game over if you went over that timer before getting the water chip. Yeah, inside Vault 13 in particular, that perspective I was talking about was, did become more apparent after something wasn't going right, like Sarge said. Everything prior was okay, it was workable, maintenance was taking care of the vault, even though things broke down fairly often. But, once something very important broke and wasn't replaceable, then, everything was not okay, people started panicking.
Yeah, Vault 13 almost had it as well as, like, some of the control vaults, it seems. Like, obviously, it wasn't a control vault, and there was stuff wrong, but it's pretty minor in the grand scheme of things. It was like having to stub your toe every day. It's like, it's really not nice, but you're gonna live with it, and it's not gonna be that bad. I say that because I literally looked at my toe, which I stubbed really badly the other day.
Yeah.
It's the only comparison I can think of.
Well, actually, I wonder if the maintenance thing was actually true, or if it was just the water chip that broke down.
Caedo doesn't know his Fallout lore. Oh,
I could be wrong. There's a lot of vaults.
yeah, there's too many. There are too many. I can't say how many there are.
13 was also monitored by the Enclave.
Everything was monitored by the Enclave.
Yeah.
They just monitored stuff for ages.
Whenever they decided they needed, pure strain humans, just like the mutants did.
Yeah.
That's like the FEV is the midichlorians of Fallout.
Oh no.
They were just like, we need an FEV project to make something happen in this universe. That's usually kind of where it ends up in a lot of these games.
So, is there... because my knowledge of, like, Fallout lore, like, the extensive, deep lore of Fallout is probably not as well developed as yours. Was there any vault that was just a vault? Like, because every vault has an experiment, because Vault Tech is evil.
It was the control vaults, yeah.
So there were some that were they were what everyone thought they were supposed to be. They were just places where people could be safe from nuclear attack.
Yeah, well, there were... I almost feel like it's tricky to define what exactly were control vaults. Because, there's safe vaults where things were as they appeared.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's other safe vaults where things were just slightly different. I'm not sure what the exact definition now is on a control vault. Caedo, you should be the expert. What exactly is the control vault?
They contained from what I remember, they contained most of the, all of the citizens inside that vault were Vault Tech. They were aware of the experiments and what was going on. They would monitor the other vaults in their area.
So that's the proper control vaults.
So what I'm curious about is control vaults aside where it's full of Vault Tech, because they're all in on it. Were there any? You said safe vault, but that's just normal people who signed up to be in a vault, and they were actually safe because it wasn't an experiment. It was just an actual vault.
76 kind of stands out to me as a safe vault, which still kind of has an experiment. Because they just keep people in there for a pretty short amount of time. It's only 25 years, and then everyone leaves. Then everyone goes, out you go kind of thing. So 76 is like, it isn't a proper control vault, because it still is kind of the experiment of, can we get people to rebuild such a short time after the apocalypse?
Mm-hmm.
But they still weren't being like properly messed with or anything.
Right.
Yeah. There might be an extra something. Like, because we haven't met up with the Overseer yet.
The Overseer talks about it in the holotapes.
Oh, she does?
Yeah, it's within the game already, before it, and it specifically talk about how she's told that it is a proper control vault, because it's when she's having to go into it, and she's, like, not allowed her partner with her or anything that she's just got married to, and it's like, yeah, your partner can't come in, this is a control vault, you want to be here, because she finds out all about Vault Tech and still ends up going with them to basically save her own skin.
Yeah.
She's actually quite an interesting character.
Yeah.
But you have to listen to like 50 holotapes to find that out.
Yep.
76 has good characters and good story. You're just not
does.
going to find it unless you spend all your time listening.
It actually does.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I liked about it. You just had to search for it quite a bit more.
Okay.
I was confusing Vault 53 with Vault 13.
Okay.
Vault 53 is most of the equipment was designed to break down every few months. While repairable, the breakdowns were intended to stress the inhabitants unduly.
Yeah.
Obviously, a broken water chip will stress people out too, but it apparently didn't happen as often as I thought.
See, told you Vault 13 was perfect.
It was actually... The experiment for Vault 13 was actually intended to stay closed for 200 years as a study of prolonged isolation. But the unforeseen breakage of the water chip caused them to have to open early and let one person out, you, the Vault Dweller, to save their skin, and then, spoilers, kick you out once you do.
Now, I recently watched a video on Fallout 1, and when you leave the vault, you find a skeleton out there wearing a Vault 13 suit. So you're not the first one to leave. Am I right?
Yes.
I don't think I'm... This isn't technically spoilers, because this is literally the beginning of the game, so I hope I'm not...
I think
His name
Caedo
was
did
Ed.
just give an endgame spoiler, so I think we're fine.
I did, yeah.
Fallout 1 spoilers are allowed. The game is old enough at this point.
Okay. I didn't
Fine.
want to take any liberties, but yeah. I just recently watched that, so I was just curious if I was right in thinking that you were...
I have the wiki up right now. Let's look at Ed.
Oh, good. See, I remember that guy, but I can't remember any specific details about him. And it bugs me. Because in my mind, I've got my own canon, which I've suddenly come up with, and I'm like, no, I haven't actually read any of that. That's just me making it up. Like, maybe the vault door shut and Ed was trying to get in. He was the last person. He'd got out. Oh no, Ed's stuck there. Help me, help me, help me. No, Ed, you're trapped now. I don't know.
Yeah, there's actually not much context in the wiki talking about him. It says Ed is a deceased human found initially outside of Vault 13. Little, if anything, is known about his past prior to this. From his apparel, though, it is visible that he too was a resident of Vault 13. Other interactions, Ed's purpose is twofold: to immediately show that the outside world is dangerous, and tell the Vault Dweller that they weren't the first person to leave the vault.
Mm.
So, you're not the first person to leave, you're the first person that's supposed to survive, I suppose.
Right. Okay.
Or the Overseer pulled the same crap on Ed as he does on you.
Right.
It's either that. Or it could have been like a really early one. It's like, I wonder if the nukes actually did happen and it was that bad. Hey Ed, why don't you go check?
Ed, would you step outside for me just a minute? Like, Ed was the guy that drove everybody in the vault crazy, and they were just so incredibly tired of him.
Yeah.
We're making the canon of Ed right now.
I bet you Ed made up tons of stuff when he was in the vault as well, just like, oh man, there's gonna be like giant rats out there who'll eat you, and then there'll be lizard creatures which with giant knives on their hands, and it's like, oh god.
Oh, he was one of those guys that just told stories like he knew something.
Yeah, and then he gets sent out and he's like, oh no everyone, there's giant rats which try and eat you, and lizards with like giant knives on their hands, what am I gonna do, save him? We're like, no Ed, that's not real, we know you're lying. I mean, you hear the death core just tearing him apart.
Boy who cried wolf situation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
nice.
That's what happened.
Yep.
Poor Ed.
Poor Ed. He had it right from the beginning, somehow.
Yeah. Alright. Well, Fallout 2 was more of a, like, building up, not being so isolated type thing, so I suppose we can skip that a little bit. I think that New Vegas' Big Mountain can speak on, it's not a vault per se, but it can speak on isolation a little bit, I think.
Yeah. There's two separate parts of isolation in that, though. Where the first one is, like, the actual environment, where they're, like, within their own dome, and there's nothing, there's, like, not a way to properly get out, and no new people coming in and out of it, for the most part.
Right.
But then there's the second thing of, they're crazy people who have been trapped outside of their own bodies, which is a different element to the whole isolation factor.
Yeah. They've been brains in jars for so incredibly long, since pre-war.
Yeah.
That maybe something's up with the biomed gel that they're floating around in too. That or maybe because they're so old, they're actually degrading. I know in Mobius's case, it's probably just the chem usage.
Yeah.
He's a genius, but also on drugs.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
I mean, he also seems like the most put together and not distraught from hundreds of years of being alone.
Yeah.
Which feels... I don't know. It's a tricky one. I want to do psych evals on all of the brains in jars, please. Because they're not people is the thing. It's a lot easier to, like, talk about actual vault dwellers because they're standard humans who have their human lifespan in isolation.
Right.
Once you start talking about long-lived creatures or potential immortals, then the whole isolation thing goes a bit out the window from what we know from standard human experience.
Yeah.
It's a lot trickier to know just how bad isolation gets when you're essentially immortal. Because do you start judging it by your relative lifespan? In which case, being alone for 100 years might only be as bad for you as a standard human being alone for like 6 months. It's a tricky whole relativistic thing to go for. And because we don't have actual immortals that we can speak to, it makes it difficult to get the correct perception, and we simply have to try and put ourselves in their minds. I was writing a book about immortals. I've spent too long thinking about this stuff.
There's a cool game about immortals too that I really wanted to come to other platforms, but I don't think it ever did. Was Lost Odyssey. It was like the one big RPG that came out on Xbox.
That was
360.
a good game.
Yeah, I wanted so bad to play it, and man, the soundtrack. I actually just listened to the soundtrack like when I first started playing and making videos on Borderlands 3 when I needed something to listen to in the background. Man, that soundtrack is so good. And then I found out I think it was Nobuo Uematsu, which is a lot of the Final Fantasy soundtracks composer. So I was like,
that name.
so I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense. That's why it's so catchy. But yeah, I was gonna say Fallout 3. If we, I'm trying to get back on topic slowly.
Yep.
Fallout 3's Vault 101 is kind of a recreation of a lot of the things that happen on the inside with the people of Vault 13's situation, with the totalitarian leader making, like, basically calling all the shots. They're not like basing it on council. Like, he gets advised sometimes, but like he just calls the shots.
He's a dictator.
No matter what. Yeah, pretty much. And they have the same situation where, like, you know too much or you've experienced too much on the outside, that'll cause everyone else to want to do the same thing, and you need to leave, like, kind of thing. Like, it's got that same...
It's not you need to leave, it's you're going to die because you know too much.
Yeah.
So you choose to leave.
No,
Technically in the game,
after you come back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I guess we should start at the beginning. Jared, do you remember the beginning of Fallout 3?
Being a baby?
Yep. Worst opening ever.
Yeah. I'm a baby.
Yeah.
Babies shouldn't be in video games.
You're not wrong. I just remember everything seemed very normal on the surface. But like you said, like, the Overseer is very manipulative and controlling, and you see that start to come out slowly in certain circumstances, up to the point where your father leaves and everything is going crazy. Yeah. And the Overseer is having, like, Jonas killed and all this other stuff, and they're coming for you. So obviously things aren't quite what they seem.
Yeah. Well, I want to kind of add to that, because it is literally just a change in the status quo causes, like, a mild extermination event.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's very minor stuff going on that actually causes this huge overreaction. Because, like you say, everything in the vault seems very normal, and you see, like, all the background posters where it's like, oh, we've got this little league game on next week, and oh, this event's going on, and everything in the vault is kind of painted to be not an idyllic society, but just, like, your standard way of living. How, like,
Right.
oh, everything's just regular and normal inside the vault. Why do you want to leave? There's no reason to leave. Everything's fine in here.
Make
Right,
sure to
why
take
would
your
you need
medication. Everything will be fine. Yeah, if you listen to the Vault Radio too, like they have those like PA announcements type thing too, which is a little extra.
It's a indoctrinated society.
Like, why would you need anything else? Everything you need is right here.
I think the reaction might have been a little strong because James was the Vault's doctor too.
Right.
So, and they killed Jonas when they were trying to find James. So they're out 2 doctors.
Not too smart.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty overreacting at the start, and then it just escalated because things got worse on all sides.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, if you are living a life where everything needs to remain the same, and from the sounds of the vault as well, they can't have been having that much variety, which was like our tip for when you're in isolation, make sure you've got variety and are doing different things. I imagine that Vault 101, most weeks were pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Like, there's not
like
going to be much
routine,
different.
scheduled events type thing.
Everything's built around the clock, and this time you go for that thing, that time you go for that thing. Even like your birthday party you have, there's like specific assigned guests and stuff. The guests there aren't like people you want or anything. It's not your own freedom. It's just the people who get invited because they're the applicable people for the event.
Yeah.
Right.
Frickin' Butch and his buds.
Yeah.
His bully buddies.
Yeah.
Want your sweet roll?
Yeah. God,
Give
that
me that.
sweet roll stealing.
Punk.
Yeah.
Son of a snake.
Well, I was just thinking that the way things happen kind of reminds me of the way people are reacting to crisis in our world right now. Like, just overreacting and going ballistic and crazy is kind of the same thing with Vault 101.
Yeah.
A little thing has happened. Let's go crazy, kill our doctors, and
prioritizing the wrong things.
Exactly.
Is another.
So it's very kind of allegory to just how people actually are sometimes.
Well, panic with a situation you weren't expecting is very common.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It definitely happens.
Yeah. I think that's why. I think that's a good reason why you suggested that topic though, is it is very important to have things put into perspective too.
Yeah.
To think of, like, I suppose other people in the same situation because we're kind of all in the same boat.
Right.
I think that's the most important thing that I guess people need to remember is that, every man, woman, and child for themselves. Maybe less on the child part. Children wouldn't last very long,
useless.
I suppose, by themselves. That's true.
Tell that the little lamplight.
Yeah.
Well, that might actually be a good topic. Maybe a good topic for another time. Drop some nukes, make kids worthful again.
Man, I don't know.
I'd vote for you.
Being forced to adapt is never an easy adjustment, I suppose. So if you're always out and about too, maybe what it is like Fallout 4's. They didn't touch on it too much, but Fallout 4's Vault 111 is Like, you start pre-war. This is like the first game you start pre-war, and you are a pre-war person, and you end up in the wasteland.
Well,
searching.
the fall of the vault is perfect, because you get frozen, and what's supposed to happen is just everyone comes back after the bad stuff has happened. You just skip over the bad event.
Right.
It doesn't work out that way.
Right. Because, like, once you learn about the doctors that were monitoring everything, like the actual Vault-Tec people, like, none of them survived, but somehow the Vault-Tec rep did. And you learn that, like, some of them obviously didn't work very well under pressure, or they found out. I think they were like short on resources too, and somebody was hoarding or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
There was your standard squabbling over stuff, and in
and
that
people
case,
ended up getting shot.
Yeah, I don't even recall it being like particularly Vault-Tec intended or anything. I don't remember there being anything which is like hints at Vault-Tec being responsible for a lack of shortages of fighting or anything. It does very much just seem like, oh, human nature. When you're living in, like, isolation with limited resources and having to get on with your standard stuff, tensions are gonna be high. And if you're all armed and dangerous during that time, don't be surprised if things get violent.
I think it's also something to think about. It's like it makes me wonder, like, you know, all the different experiments and all the different predictions and expectations that Vault-Tec may have had. They clearly were unable to foresee exactly what was going to happen after the bombs fell, because all the vaults you ever come to, they're just, you know, they're destroyed, or you're always catching kind of the aftermath of the experiments failing miserably.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny to Vault-Tec. They were these masterminds and these scientists doing all these crazy experiments, but they've all failed.
Yeah.
Despite their intelligence and their scientists and everything.
The only dependable thing about the future is uncertainty.
Oh yeah,
Even
Vault.
when,
I was gonna say Vault 8 was a control vault and ended up creating Vault City. So that was one success.
Well,
but again, it was a control vault.
I don't even know
so.
if that quite counts as a success, because was their plan to build this ginormous city?
Yeah, well, because there wasn't an experiment involved, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it was just kind of like, oh, these people did well because we didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Every time there is an experiment, and they try to alter things, it always just ends up with everyone killing each other.
Yes.
Even just normal living in isolation is tough enough. And
yeah.
that seems to be the big thing Vault-Tec didn't get, which is weird. They seem to have a higher assumption of people, which they really shouldn't have, because they were like, oh, we better add these outside stimuli to make it really difficult for people and see how they react. But even just leaving people as they were was enough in a lot of cases to have them turn violent and into murderers and psychopaths. Vault-Tec they went over the top.
Maybe the Enclave ended up wanting, you know, murders and psychopaths for some of their other experiments. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there were definitely some vaults where the goal was to train killers. Think about I can't remember which vault number it is, but one of the ones in 4 where they've got kids with, like, combat skills and stuff.
Oh,
like,
yeah, the one at
parents.
the middle school. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought Vault 81 was kind of cool, too, where it was kind of backwards. all the Vault-Tec people, scientists, died, so they weren't able to continue the experiments, so everybody thrived.
I think that gives a good overall message.
Yeah.
As long as you just, like, trying to make the best of it in isolation, you're gonna be okay. As long as you've not got Vault-Tec hovering over you, just make sure, like, your cereal doesn't have cameras in it, and you're probably gonna be fine.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a story behind that, Sarge.
What, the cameras I've been placing in everyone's cereal? Nothing to do with that. Come on, guys, but I really mentioned the cereal if that's where I'd hidden the cameras. Think things through.
That's true. You're right. Okay. Well, I guess that does. Unless you guys have any extra bits, that was a good summarization. Surmise.
I was gonna go with moral.
That's a good word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As I'm losing them, as they're falling out of my ears.
Yeah. It's worth everyone remembering that we don't have life as bad as it was in the vaults.
Yes.
And one of the ways we don't have life that badly is that we still get to play video games.
Yeah!
So, guys,
Woohoo!
what you been playing?
Jared, go first.
Okay. Well, I recently was fortunate enough to be able to borrow an Oculus Rift from a coworker of mine. Yeah. So, the first game that I ended up downloading, because I just wanted to try it out and it sounded cool, was a game called Asgard's Wrath. And you're kind of like a Viking. You're actually kind of like a Norse god who possesses a Viking or a Nordic warrior's body or whatever. Very cool. Massive game for a VR game. It was like 80 gigs download. Took forever. It failed once. I had to start it all over. Yeah, pain in the butt, but really cool. And I'm playing. I want to play Half-Life. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff I want to play, but Half-Life Alyx is kind of the one that I'm leaning towards. I haven't committed to it yet because, again, I'm only borrowing the headset. So whatever I buy is the potential of not being able to play it at some point in the future unless I buy my own headset, which I do want to do. But so I'm kind of on the fence.
If I could make a suggestion,
Sure.
watch Up Is Not Jump's video on. It's also extremely entertaining, but watch his video on Half-Life Alyx because he gives a good summarization on why it's one of the best VR games to date.
Right. Okay.
Because from what I saw, it is. So
I've heard nothing but good and
Yeah.
saying the exact same things, like it's the best thing ever. And I mean, let's be honest, we've been waiting 13 years for more Half-Life.
yeah,
So
It's
I
been a
definitely want to I'm trying to decide if I'm going to play it for myself or play it for the channel, because I do mostly like indie horror games on my channel. So wow, that was not what I was expecting to see pop up on Discord. It was kind of creepy, actually. Just like popped in there, all they see is angry face. I'm probably going to. I just ran a poll on my channel, like some of the newer games, like Resident Evil and Half-Life and Final Fantasy is like of these mainstream, quote unquote AAA mainstream games, which one would you guys like to see? And it's been like even for all of them. So I'm just like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to play them all.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I would say, if I can suggest, like,
of course,
like staying in your wheelhouse at first, because like Half-Life can fall under horror, at least for some elements of the game, as well as obviously Resident Evil 3 is like horror survival. So, whereas Final Fantasy is just completely different.
yeah, it's completely different.
Which I did like I rarely do the announcement video thing, but I did one where I was just like, I'm trying to justify making Final Fantasy VII remake content, and the response to that was actually really good, from my fans that actually react to the other stuff that I make. So
Right.
But listening to what the people are voting on to is pretty important. But if it's the same across the board, like,
It really is.
I don't
even.
think I don't think you have to worry too much. Just do
Yeah.
what feels like the best.
Exactly.
I suppose.
So that's what I've been just kind of like weighing, putting feelers out, just figuring it all out. And most likely I'm just gonna, because I also want to play the Walking Dead Saints and Sinners VR, because that just looks like a lot of fun too.
also good on you for giving people options instead of just being like, what do I play next?
No, I don't like that. I prefer to be a little bit more assertive.
Yeah.
Because I've done that before. I'm just like, what do you guys want? And it's too
open of a question.
Yeah, you get like one person saying one thing and another person saying one other thing. Giving like 3 or 4 choices, it kind of funnels that information to something more useful for me.
Yeah.
So
giving people multiple choice in all of like a list of things that you want to do in different capacities is a much better approach.
I agree.
I think I think other people who are working on their own stuff, even people that I've seen in my Discord recently, asking people lots of questions about how they should even play a game,
right?
When being like if you're not interested enough to want to play it your own way, just do something else, really.
No, totally. I like to maintain a little bit of control. I mean, because it is, when it comes down to it, it's my channel.
Yeah,
I'm putting my time and effort into it, so it has to be something that I'm enjoying doing. So far that's been working out to a degree. I mean, I'm not like a huge success story by any means, but that's not my goal anyways. It's fun and I enjoy doing it. So, and if I can do what I enjoy doing and it's also coincides with what people might enjoy watching, then hey, it's win-win.
Boom
done. Yeah, that's me.
That's awesome. I saw you mention FF7 Remake on here too. Is it something you want to play? Or
it is only mostly because of what it is. Like I said, I never really played Final Fantasy VII, the original, and I'm not a huge Final Fantasy fan. However, I do appreciate the franchise. So that's definitely on the fringe of like what I want to play versus what people might want to watch. Like, I would be more inclined to play it on the channel if a lot of people wanted me to play it. I still feel like I would enjoy it, so it's not too far fringe that it's like, I'm not going to enjoy this, but if you guys want me to play it, I'll play it. No, it's like, if you guys want me to play it, I'm still probably going to enjoy it, but these other games I'm probably more likely to enjoy.
Gotcha.
So it is on my radar, but definitely at the bottom of the list.
Gotcha. Well, Sarge.
I was about to say, I know Final Fantasy VII Remake was at the top of someone else's list. Hey, Caedo.
Top of my list?
Yeah.
Perhaps? Are you waiting? Are you going to be the last one today?
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, after I just set you up perfectly there, I demand
Yeah,
it.
it was perfect.
I did gush about Final Fantasy VII Remake a little bit and talk about, the things I'm not so keen on. I really enjoyed the gameplay. I do like how well some things were recreated in the game, or even expanded upon. Some of the areas especially, because this is a open area action game instead of just, whoosh, enemy encounter type thing. So they somehow had to make that possible and involve exploration somehow too, along with some puzzle solving and character development. And like, with all the things that they had to do with this game, because they chose that kind of combat system, I think they did it pretty well. But again, I'm still processing all of this, the 44 hours that I played of this game in 3 days. So it's
Wow.
It's still a lot to process. Thankfully, I recorded the entirety of it,
That's literally like
so I can
all
look
you
back.
did during those days, but
Yeah, that's all I did. I got up, played Final Fantasy VII Remake until I got tired, and then went back to bed.
Nice.
That's what you do sometimes. And I ended up getting the game a little bit early, so I have, a sizable list of at least things I wish I knew when I started playing. So there's going to be at least one of those. So that's both what I'm playing and what I'm working on. Played Nuclear Winter a bit with Sarge. We got a couple wins, I think.
I mean, whenever I play in a group.
Whenever
there's wins,
Sarge plays in the group.
obviously.
I played Skyrim quite a bit.
You've been streaming that on your Discord, haven't you, Caedo?
I have, actually. Off and on. I mean, not as much now, because now Final Fantasy VII Remake is taking up quite a chunk of my time. But I had just started making Skyrim countdowns for... It started with daggers, and I'm moving on to swords, but now that the Final Fantasy VII thing came out, I have to switch gears to that to, focus on something that's more current. Because Skyrim's going to be around forever. People will not stop watching content on Skyrim. There's no way.
I mean, once Elder Scrolls X is out, and Skyrim's an ancient game...
Skyrim is still the best, 6 through 9.
Yeah. Like, when Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, I'm by no means expecting Skyrim to disappear.
Yeah.
It's too big.
Yeah. I played Neverwinter Nights 2 off and on with Kite after we finally got it to work. This is what I was mentioning. If you remember all the way back towards the beginning of the podcast, where I was talking about Obsidian doing things that aren't so great, it was Neverwinter Nights 2. There is so many problems with the sequel than there is with the original game. And mind you, these are two different developers. I'm assuming two different engines. And Obsidian was recreating a lot of the stuff and improving, or trying to improve upon the things that the first game did. And these are both Dungeons and Dragons classic RPG, isometric 3D type games that you can adventure with your friends. But doing a LAN game with the first game was so easy, and is so easy because there's still support for it, as opposed to how it is with the second game, because it still has GameSpy framework, and for those who don't know, GameSpy has not been a thing for ages. It stopped being a thing like a decade ago. So just getting it to work between two people, you have to make an account with I don't even remember what service you have to make an account with, but it's a pain. It's a huge pain. There was something that was kind of grating for me, but I don't remember what it was. It's mainly because I've been playing other games recently. But I didn't find many characters that I enjoyed so far. Oh. And I was seeing in some subreddits or forums that it took until 10, 15-ish hours into the game to actually have the story pick up. And I'm like, that's a long time to wait until something actually starts happening. A lot of the quests and encounters and stuff like that felt really formulaic, I guess. But also, before the Final Fantasy VII Remake came out, I should have put this prior to everything, was I was playing the original Final Fantasy VII and trying to slam through that. I think when I finished playing, I think the weapons, Diamond Weapon was just attacking. I think. Okay. So I was mid disc 2. And I had already gone to for any Final Fantasy VII nerds, I had already gone to the Frog Forest because I had acquired a mountain chocobo. The Frog Forest doesn't open up until Ultimate Weapon gets destroyed normally.
I mean, Ancient Forest for its technical name.
Frog Forest.
Ancient Forest.
Frog Forest.
I read the name. I spent all that time opening up a menu, Caedo. Give me the credit for knowing the name.
Good job, man.
This is the one by Cosmo Canyon that's up on the cliff.
Yeah, Ancient Forest.
Frog Forest.
No, it's called Ancient Forest.
It's Frog Forest.
It was when I opened the menu. Because guess what? I've also been playing Final Fantasy VII, the old one.
Oh, it's got frogs in it.
It has frogs in it, but it also has monsters and man-eating plants and grass. I don't go, oh man, that's a tree forest right there. There's tons of trees in that place.
Those trees are really old. They must be ancient.
Yes.
Anyway,
Ancient Forest.
I got a gold chocobo and got Knights of the Round, so I've basically completed the game in disc 2. So the rest of it's gonna be pretty easy. Knights of the Round is the ultimate summon that everybody talks about who's played 7 because it's an absurdly long sequence and they hit like 13 times for a ton of damage. I think it's the only summon that hits it's multiple times too. But yeah, so that's what I've been playing. Sarge, what have you been playing?
Well, I actually did beat Final Fantasy VII without Knights of a Round or anything fancy, because I don't need it. Because believe it or not, it was.
I'm
very
proud of you, by the
easy.
way.
Oh, thanks, man. It was playing Final Fantasy VII. Obviously, it was a game I just wanted to get ticked off the list. I've had a bit of free time before having to work on more stuff, so I was like, cool, I'll get that just done, all nice and good. Problem was that Emerald Weapon and Ruby Weapon, obviously very difficult fights.
Yep.
Didn't beat either of them. I had a go at Emerald Weapon a few times. I got really close one time. And I'm not doing like any of the fancy proper meta strategy with like Knights of a Round or stuff. I was doing it my own way, and I almost beat Emerald Weapon. And I'm convinced that if I really put the time into it and just kept trying over and over again, I could beat Emerald Weapon just with like 4 times cut Vincent, or no, 4 times cut Cloud I'd probably go with, because I was trying Vincent before, but now I got Ultima Weapon, whatever. Nerdy stuff again. But yeah, I played through the rest of the game, and obviously I couldn't beat Emerald or Ruby Weapon, didn't even try Ruby Weapon to be fair, but didn't beat them. But every other single fight I did felt so easy. And there's obviously a huge power disparity between like Final Form Sephiroth and Emerald Weapon. And like Ultima Weapon. I cannot describe how weak Ultima Weapon is without swearing. That's Ultima Weapon. I was going into that thinking, oh, this is going to be a tough fight. No, I attack like twice and it flies away. It's pathetic. Man, I have some opinions about Final Fantasy VII overall, but you know what? I did enjoy it, so fair play.
That's good.
It's not as good as 8 and 9, obviously, but I still enjoyed it.
I'm glad you enjoyed it too, Sarge.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say that the concept of the weapons themselves was really cool and fun.
That's
like
probably
when you see
my favourite thing about the game.
Yeah, when you see the first weapon show up in Junon, and you're just like, oh no! And then boom, headshot, and you're like, oh! It's so cool.
The weapons are badass.
Yeah, that was delivered so well. And I'm glad they made that like kind of the central theme for Disc 2 also. Is like, weapons are attacking, you gotta get the big materia. Go!
Although, which weapon is it that slowly walks towards the cannon and then you fight it on the beach?
Diamond?
Yeah, Diamond. Diamond Weapon was such a slow wait for it to trudge through the water.
Yeah.
You literally just land, you stand on the beach, you wait like 5 actual minutes kind of real time for the weapon to show up, you hit it 3 times and then it flies away. It's just like, wow, that was so worth it.
Yeah. You got to steal the, what is it, the Rising Sun or something like that from it, which is I think it's specifically a throw item.
Yeah, it was a throw item in 9. I never used throw, because why do you need it when you got 4 times cut and you deal 9,999 damage each time?
4 times cut and long range.
Yeah, and long range, of course.
Yeah.
Everyone's always on the back row. Everyone's either got a long range weapon or... Yeah, Final Fantasy VII's easy.
Yeah. Once... I like, because I played it so early in life, I don't have that, knowledge of like how easy it is to pick up now after learning, like, you know, playing so many RPGs in general. But the materia system is really easy to figure out, I think. Still.
Oh yeah. I mean, for context, I grew up with Final Fantasy VIII and the magic junctioning system, which I really like, and I totally got and stuff, but that seems to be the one that throws off people.
I didn't like the what's it called? Draw? I didn't like the draw system.
Yeah, I can understand not liking draw. For me, draw was okay, because drawing magic was basically the grind of the game, and it was nowhere near as long as fighting enemies over and over and over again, which is the grind in almost every single other Final Fantasy.
Okay.
So, I was okay with it, but I totally get the complaints for it. But games that have no complaints at all is Magic the Gathering, which I've been playing tons of recently, because they gave they were doing a free historic brawl event, which meant I was able to make like a not quite a commander deck based around dinosaurs and stomp over everyone. And it was so much fun.
Awesome.
The event's over now, I think, unfortunately, because it was only like a 1 or 2 day event. But I played
Magic had a new set come out too.
in real life Magic, it's not in Arena yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a shame. It won't be out in Arena till like Thursday or something, which is horribly timed for me. But I loved playing with my dinosaurs. I miss them so much. My Dino deck is my favourite deck I've played in Magic, other than probably my IRL slivers, but that's because I'm a terrible friend.
I think you and Kite are in agreement there, because Kite loves the Dino decks too.
Dinos are so good. Yeah, you just have... I can't remember its name, but the green, red and white giant, like, 7-cost Dino, who's got, like, Vigilance, Trample and Haste. You just cast it. That was my commander. You cast it, you charge in, and for each point of damage it does, you get to look at a card from the top of your deck, and if it's a dinosaur, you just summon it to the field straight away and it can't be countered or anything. It is so good.
That's really dumb.
The last match I played, I literally got through an attack with just like 2 points of damage, and it was like, oh, here's 2 of my best dinosaurs. I summoned them just instantly, and then the opponent immediately conceded. It was just like, yeah, you know what's happening here.
Yeah,
that's great. So much fun. And now I won't ever get to play with my dinosaurs again. Yeah, it's a shame.
I think Kite might get mad in the comments if we don't mention the new set though. The new set is kaiju oriented, and they did a crossover with Godzilla, so there's a Godzilla card in Magic the Gathering now.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
Yeah, but the kaijus are awesome. Like the designs for I haven't even looked at the cards themselves much, but I really appreciate the designs that they're doing.
I'm not going to go into the whole cards themselves because that would just add like an extra 20
minutes
to this recording. I'm just going to wrap it up by saying, obviously I've been playing a lot of 76. I played some Nuclear Winter with Caedo. I also played some Nuclear Winter without Caedo, and my previous video has a clip of me solo winning the game by just slaughtering the last 4 people or something. And it's beautiful because none of them realise where I am. They just go down one at a time.
Were you Chameleon or
No.
Were they just bad?
I was just partially behind cover with I threw a couple of grenades and like a Molotov and then just shot everyone because their backs always were turned to me.
Oh yeah, you can't really tell direction as well with the grenades.
And with the shots as well, like this was about 15 seconds I killed like 4 people or something just because everyone was grouped up on the final part of the map. And Nuclear Winter is a lot of fun. It's a shame there's not many people playing it though, because I tried to play another day, not enough people, disconnected. But
Bummer.
Standard 76, I've been playing, and obviously, I'm covering Wastelanders. If any of you listening are interested in Wastelanders, you should be watching my content, because come Tuesday, I'll be covering the actual game, and the previous 2 videos I've made have been like the trailer breakdown and the Inside the Vault thing, with tons of information and screenshots, shiny stealth suit and other stuff like that that's going on with the whole thing. And probably at the end of this PIPCAST, you can check out my channel. If you listen to the PIPCAST straight away, I'll probably be live streaming afterwards. Hey,
there you go.
Seeing it live. Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
Extra third thing.
Awesome. And if you're interested in the things that Jared is doing, I know you can self-plug if you want to, Jared. Self-plug, that sounds dirty.
Oh, dang. It does now.
Your line was the only one there, Caedo. You just dragged both of us into the gutter.
You can promote yourself this way if you want
That describes it the best way. We were fine, and you drug us there against our will.
I am glad that that's the only thing that's my fault this time.
Immersive. Never living that one down. Come on, check out my channel if you want to see some indie horror games or just some weird games. Like I mentioned, I'm trying to get into some VR stuff, so hopefully here soon I'll be doing some Half-Life Alyx probably. Maybe some other horror games. I did do one horror game with the VR set called Kobold, and that was a trip. Playing a horror game in VR is a whole nother thing.
Yep.
But yeah, doing all kinds of stuff like that. Come on by, check us out.
Okay.
I'm not very good at plugging, so that's all I can.
Well, we get better by doing it, don't we?
Exactly.
Okay, so y'all know me. I'm Caedo. You're here on my channel, so I assume you know me or something. I have a lot of videos that I've been expanding my horizons on, which involve like Borderlands 3 and The Outer Worlds, and soon to be Final Fantasy VII Remake. But a lot of the stuff you'll find on my channel is a lot of stuff that people watch pretty often, even to this day, even though they came out a long time ago, which is Skyrim and Fallout-oriented stuff. So if any of those things interest you, stick around and maybe check out some of my countdowns, because I did a lot of countdowns at this point, and they're apparently the easiest thing to watch. So with that, I hope you all have a good and safe rest of your next 2 weeks. Play something awesome, do something different, and we'll catch you in 2 weeks for episode 34. You guys can say
Bye.
Okay.
I was leaving that as just a nice little bit of silence to show a clear cutoff point.
Immersion.
Immersion.